Welcome to the Past Life Project. I'm Monique, hypnotherapist and regression specialist. Let me bring you into my world where just another day in the office is not your typical desk job. In each episode, we will be delving into the extraordinary realm of past lives through my own therapy practice, client stories and interviews, and conversations with practitioners that are utilizing past lives as a powerful modality for healing. Tune in to find out how people just like you are healing from a range of physical, emotional, and spiritual issues by exploring their previous incarnations. Are you ready to dive into the future of therapy? It's time to turn back time with the Past Life Project.
Hello, and welcome to the Past Life Project podcast. I'm your host, Monique Glover, and I am so excited to have you here. Welcome to the new format of the podcast, formerly known as Adventures in Regression Therapy. All the old episodes are still archived under this podcast. So if you're a new listener and you want to go back and listen to some of those, you can do so. If you are an old listener, I'm excited to have you here as we shift on this new journey. And to both new and old, I would love your feedback as this podcast starts to take form. If there's any particular topics that you are really interested in, any specific practitioners you would like me to talk to, because that's something new that's going to be happening with the podcast, is I'm going to be doing more interviews with others that are working in this realm of past lives to give you a more well-rounded experience of what people are doing with this healing modality outside of my personal realm of hypnotherapy and regression therapy. But for today's episode, I thought we'd go back to the basics and just talk about why past lives? Why are we doing all of this work? Because yeah, it's super interesting. And I mean, something personally I could geek out on for hours. But at the end of the day, we're doing it for the healing. So typically I have two types of clients that come to me personally. And either type 1 is they have a particular issue that is coming up in this life, physical issue, mental health issue, relationship issue, and they want to get down to the root of what's happening. And we use past lives as part of that modality to see what's happening, to end up clearing things for them so they can move on in their lifetime. Or I have type 2 client, which just comes with an open mind and is really interested in past lives and wants to see what's there and connect with the subconscious, connect with the higher self, and is just open to learning what's there and to working on something, because as humans, don't we all have something that we can work at some point in time? So whether you're coming with a particular issue in mind that you want to resolve, or you're just coming open-minded for the experience, either way is a great way to get started into past lives and the healing that you can experience by diving into them. And just a little overview about specifically what I do as a hypnotherapist and regression therapy specialist, because I know some of the terminology I throw around can be confusing. So I wanted to go over what is hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and regression therapy, and how they're slightly different and lead into each other. So hypnosis is a focused state of inner awareness. It's an altered state of consciousness that we go into naturally. Hypnosis can happen spontaneously. So often I explain it as when you're driving a familiar route and all of a sudden you just kind of zone out and then you end up at your location. That was you going into that hypnotic trance. It often happens when we're doing manual tasks that we're just really great at and we can zone out. So, I mean, washing the dishes, showering, that's a big one for people when they go into this trance state and connect with their higher self. It can be spontaneous like that, or it can be self-guided. So listening to self-guided hypnosis recordings is a big one, or guided by hypnotherapist. And while in hypnosis, you are able to access the subconscious mind, which I think is really the higher self. The subconscious mind is more the scientific term that we give it in psychology. And this subconscious mind is highly responsive to constructive and transformative messages. It's also the key to figure out how to break particular patterns, loops, illnesses, whatever is going on in your life that you want to resolve, because this part of you has an innate desire to see you at your best and knows exactly where you need to go. So when people are telling you, oh, you have to go in for answers, which is a very vague and overwhelming thing to tell someone, especially when you're not used to going in and you just think, well, what does that mean? Go in where? What they're referring to is going into this inner state. And when you work with someone like a hypnotherapist, other practitioners that can help guide you there, just like anything, it's practice. So the more you practice going into the state, going inwards, the easier it gets. And often when you're starting, you need that help. You can't just, close your eyes and like, okay, go inwards, especially when it feels like a lot of things are crashing down in your life, or especially for individuals that are struggling with mental health, with anxiety. It can be very hard just to close your eyes and go in. So there's lots of different ways and techniques to do this, to connect with your higher self, with the subconscious mind. So even if you think that you can't do it or you can't be hypnotized, is one that I often get, there are so many ways that fit different people in different ways of doing things. Hypnotherapy is what creates the healing experience. So hypnotherapy is the therapeutic practice where the hypnotic trance state is used to create a healing experience. And this is our aim in hypnotherapy. Traditional hypnotherapy is facilitated by using positive suggestions to change unwanted behaviors or to encourage positive ones. And I tell new clients all the time, just to imagine that you have a wound on, let's say, your arm, and just slap a Band-Aid on it, but you don't do anything to address the infection that's bubbling up beneath the surface. Do you expect by putting the Band-Aid on that it's just going to clear everything up because you can't see it? Or do you need to dig under the surface? So this is a great way to kind of think about, yes, the positive suggestions are great. And yes, they work really well with some people, but they don't work well with a lot of people. And typically this is because there's something under the surface. There's some unaddressed emotional trauma that is trumping all the positive suggestions. And the subconscious mind is saying, okay, all of that stuff is great, but there is all this stuff underneath the surface that comes down to safety, and that safety is priority. And if you don't feel safe, not going to shift things. And that's why I love regression therapy, because regression therapy releases the root cause. So it utilizes this hypnotic state and the wisdom of the subconscious mind to go back into the past and uncover and release emotional traumas that are the root of a presenting symptom or issue. And then this is a great time to start putting in all of the positive suggestions. So if you've done traditional hypnotherapy in the past and it hasn't worked for you, you are not broken, just probably haven't been going deep enough to address what's at the root first. Why do we go into these past lives? Like I said, for the healing experience, although it's really freaking amazing what comes out. And honestly, it's something that I could geek out on for hours and hours, especially when we're talking about people coming back with historical facts and information that they had no way of knowing. when we're going into things like famous past lives that we can do some research on. That's all really cool and exciting stuff and fun stories to tell family and friends. But at the end of the day, we're going in for the healing experience, not for the story. And I work with a lot of clients that are kinesthetic. So they feel things in their body. They don't visualize. Often they come to me thinking something is wrong with them and they're broken because they've tried to do all the visualization, all the guided meditation, and they can't see the serene waterfall. Why can't I see it? Because you feel things in your body. There's nothing wrong with that. You feel things and you don't necessarily see them in your mind's eye. But from a therapeutic perspective, we don't need to see things. We don't need to know the whole story. We can just actually allow the body to release the places where it's holding on to this emotional trauma. And that is the therapy in itself. We don't need to know all the details of, okay, what century is this? Where, what do you look like? All the details about the story. Sometimes the story actually distracts from the healing itself. And I've had clients that are highly visual and see things in details. In some sessions, it just seems like that gets dimmed down or turned off, almost like the subconscious knows they're going to be distracted by the story. And that's not the point. The releasing is what is important, not the story. The story is more the thing that the conscious thinking mind likes to hold on to and often validate the experience with. But I often tell people too, you don't even have to come in with a belief of past lives. A belief in past lives is not mandatory to healing. You will still have a healing experience, even if you don't believe in them, even if you think that, this is a very complex metaphor that your subconscious has created for your healing. Doesn't matter. We're going for the results. We're going for the healing. So we go in, like I said, we release that emotional trauma. We disturb patterns. So typically after someone's been seeing me for a couple of sessions, we'll see these patterns that start to come up from these series of past lives that are coming into their life now. And you kind of get this aha awareness moment. And so that awareness in itself is part of the healing experience. It's not only about digging up the stuff, but the awareness of, oh, this is going on. And then how can we reprogram the brain now? How can we reprogram those neural pathways to this new version that you want to be of yourself, the patterns that you want to let go of in the now. Often we go in and we also bring in the strengths into the now. So strengths that you had in the past lives. It's not all about digging up the trauma. It often can be, but there's a lot of sessions that we bring in the strengths and we tap into that energy of who you were and bring that into your life now. We integrate learnings from those lifetimes and make those connections to how you can utilize those learnings into the now. There's a whole bunch of different, what I call energetic interferences that can occur when we're talking in the realms of past lives too, that for some people we need to look into. So different things like cords and contracts and curses, if this is something familiar to you, if you've done a lot of metaphysical work, these can be energetic bindings. So something that was done in a past life that is still binding us now, that is still following us through. And you would think that, well, that life is over, all that stuff is over. But if we don't deal with the issue, it just keeps on following us. So often when people come to me, it's kind of a joke of, well, we better do it now, because if we don't, it's just going to keep following you into the next life until you clear it. There's a whole episode in the archives on spirit attachment. So I plan on going into some more of that information in a future episode here too. But again, an energetic interference between a relationship with someone in that past life whose energy is still attached to you in the now and is interfering with you going forward. So there are a lot of different interesting ways that we can go into the past lives and kind of examine what's happening. So with the guidance of your subconscious mind, we go into whatever life we need to go into that needs to be cleared or integrated or brought into this lifetime. And we do that work. And part of it is actually letting go. So not holding on to the story, as interesting as it is. It's like opening up a book and letting the energy out of it and then putting the book back on the shelf. So you still have the memory. Everyone remembers what happens in their session. You have the memory of the life, but you open the book and you diffused the energy. And now you're able to put it back on the bookshelf without it disrupting you in your lifetime right now anymore. The memory is still there, but we're not holding on to that energetic story. It's not binding us. And that's what allows us to move freely into this lifetime right now. All right, that is a little intro into why past lives, why we do this work in the first place, why it is so important. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know if there's a topic that you would really love me to dive into, because I would love to hear from you. The things that I might think are really exciting, perhaps the listeners don't. And the things that I think are just everyday could be something that a lot really want to dive into. So I always love to hear from the listeners. Give me your feedback, send me an email. All the contacts are in the show notes below. I am super excited to have you here, and I can't wait for you to join me on the next episode of the Past Life Project podcast. See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Past Life Project. For more information how I can help you to access the wisdom of your subconscious mind to support deep healing and transformation, visit my website at moniqueglover.com. If you loved what you just listened to, please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Until next time.